You just walk through the door. Your shoes are barely off. The weight of the workday is still buzzing behind your eyes, and before you can take a full, deep breath, you hear it. Why? It is the 20th time they have asked in the last 5 minutes. If your patience is frayed right now, if you are hiding in the kitchen, just trying to find a moment of quiet, take a breath with me. I see you. It is entirely okay to feel completely, utterly drained by the relentless brilliance of a growing mind. The transition from your professional life to the intimate sanctuary of your home is not a gentle glide. It is a sudden, jarring shift. You are carrying the invisible mental load of 1,000 tiny decisions made over the last 8 hours, and your physical body reflects that heavy burden. The dappled sunlight of the late afternoon filters through the wooden blinds, casting warm beige shadows across the floor. Scattered across the ground are wooden blocks in muted terracotta and soft lavender. You rest your hand against the cool marble, your heavy eyelids drooping in a slow, tired blink, desperately seeking a micro moment of rest. This is the reality of the witching hour, that incredibly fragile window of time where everyone's physical and emotional reserves are running dangerously low. The house hums with the ambient drone of the evening, a symphony of domesticity that can feel overwhelmingly loud to an exhausted mind. A distant car drives by outside. The refrigerator hums its steady mechanical tune. You glance down at a half-empty mug of cold tea left from this morning, a quiet monument to a moment of peace never reclaimed. You can hear the rhythmic, tired chopping of vegetables on a wooden board in your mind, the looming task of dinner preparation adding weight to your shoulders. And then comes that persistent, high-pitched, and earnest repetition again. Why? It feels, in this vulnerable state, like a physical tap on a bruised nerve. When you are operating on empty, every auditory input feels aggressively amplified. The sound of their voice, as sweet as it is, demands an intellectual and emotional response that you simply feel you cannot summon from your depleted reserves. It is vital to pause here and validate the profound sensory overload you are experiencing. You are not a bad parent for feeling frustrated by your child's innate curiosity. You are a human being experiencing the natural, neurological consequence of decision fatigue and sensory overstimulation. All day long, you have been answering complex questions and managing a myriad of crises. Your brain has been in a state of constant, relentless output. When you walk into your home, your nervous system desperately craves a period of silence and sensory deprivation to recalibrate. Instead, it is met with the most intense, high-energy input imaginable, a toddler whose brain is firing on all cylinders. This conflict between your biological need for quiet rest and your child's biological need for active engagement is the exhausting battleground of the early parenting years. We must reject the toxic positivity that tells us we must cherish every exhausting second. It is perfectly acceptable and entirely healthy to acknowledge that the mental toll of this phase is astonishingly heavy. You are allowed to be touched out. To survive this phase without losing your sense of self, we have to reframe what is actually happening when your toddler asks that endless question. Their why is not designed to torture you, though it can certainly feel that way when your cortisol levels are spiking. Their why is a biological imperative. It is a vital mechanism designed by nature to help them make sense of a world constantly unfolding before their unblinking eyes. Right now, your child's brain is undergoing a period of explosive synaptic growth. They are rapidly categorizing the universe, attempting to understand cause and effect, physics, and human emotion. When they point to a dancing dust mote caught in the soft peach sunlight and ask why, they are not looking for a scientific lecture. They are looking for a framework. They are looking for you to help them organize the overwhelming sensory data they absorb every second of the day. Furthermore, in the realm of mindful development, we must recognize that the question why is often a disguised bid for connection. It is not always about the literal question being asked. It is about the interaction itself. After a long day apart, while you were at work and they were navigating their own routines, they are seeking a way to pull you back into their orbit. They know that asking a question requires a response. It is a conversational tether they are throwing out to you, hoping you will catch it and pull them close. When we are exhausted, we often make the mistake of trying to answer the literal question with logic, which only leads to another why, because the true need for connection has not been met. They do not want the answer, they want your eyes on theirs. They want the reassuring cadence of your voice. They want to know the emotional proximity between you remains secure. Understanding this shifts the paradigm. The endless repetition transforms into a poignant plea for your loving attention. But knowing this logically does not automatically make the physical exhaustion disappear. You cannot simply think your way out of nervous system dysregulation. Before you can meet their bid for connection, you must first tend to your own biological needs in this micro moment. You have to regulate your own physical state before you can co-regulate with your toddler. So, standing there by the cool marble counter, I want you to close your heavy eyes, just for 3 seconds. Inhale deeply, drawing the air down into your belly, and then release a deep, prolonged exhale. Let the sound of that exhale be audible in the quiet kitchen. Feel the tension in your jaw begin to slacken. Consciously drop your shoulders away from your ears, where they have been tightly coiled since your morning commute. This mindful pause is a tactical necessity. You are signaling to your autonomic nervous system that you are safe, that the perceived threat of the stressful workday is over. In that deep breath, you reclaim your agency. You shift from reactive survival to intentional guidance. With your nervous system slightly more settled, you can begin to bridge the gap. The most powerful physical movement you can make in this moment is not to turn away, but to descend. Step away from the scattered mail and the half-empty mug of tea. Physically lower yourself down to the floor, navigating around the muted terracotta and lavender blocks. Bringing your body down to their eye level is a profound act of empathy. It immediately changes the dynamic of the interaction. You are no longer the towering, burdened authority figure gazing down from the overwhelming height of adult responsibilities. You become a partner in their exploration. As you settle onto the floor, bathed in the soft peach light of the setting sun, you enter their specific world. You see the kitchen from their vantage point, the fascinating shadows cast by the wooden blinds, the tiny details you normally walk right past. This physical shift is the heart of the gentle saga. It is an acknowledgement that parenting is a shared journey requiring patience and adaptability. As you meet their gaze, you notice the absolute sincerity in their wide, unblinking eyes. They are wearing a slightly oversized shirt with subtle lavender accents, and their tiny, chubby hand is still pointing earnestly toward the floor. You follow the trajectory of their small finger and see what captured their attention so completely. It is a single dancing dust mote, illuminated by a ray of golden hour sunlight, swirling in the air currents above the wooden floorboards. To you, it is just dust, a reminder that the house needs vacuuming. To them, it is a tiny floating miracle, defying gravity, glittering like a miniature star in the middle of the kitchen. Why? They ask again, their voice softer now, filled with genuine awe rather than frantic demand. And in this moment, you finally see it. You see the sheer magic of their blooming intellect. You are witnessing the exact moment a new connection is being made in their rapidly developing brain. The exhaustion buzzing behind your eyes dissolves, replaced by a shimmering, gentle sense of wonder. You do not need to explain aerodynamics to this beautiful, curious creature. You just need to meet them in their wonder. You reach out and gently cup their pointing hand in yours. The contrast between your capable adult hands and their soft, new skin is a poignant reminder of the fleeting nature of this phase. You take a breath, letting the ambient drone fade into the background, and you softly whisper, "I don't know, my love. It looks like it's dancing in the sun, doesn't it?" This response is an invitation. You have caught their conversational tether and pulled them close. The toddler looks at the dust mote, then looks at you, absorbing your calm energy. Their high-pitched repetition stops. A soft, breathy gasp escapes their lips as they process your words, making the connection between the floating speck and the concept of dancing. And then the tension of the witching hour breaks. A quiet, shared laugh bubbles up between you, a tiny, bright sound in the warmly lit kitchen. It is the exact moment the struggle transitions into peaceful rhythm. The legacy of this moment extends far beyond a single answered question about a speck of dust. When you consistently meet their why with patience, even when you have to dig incredibly deep to find that patience, you are building the foundational architecture of their worldview. You teach them that their curiosity is valid, their voice matters, and the world is a safe place to ask questions. You show them that even when the demands of life are heavy, they are your priority. This builds an unshakable, secure attachment. They learn to trust you will be there to help them decipher the universe, one tiny mystery at a time. Simultaneously, the legacy for you, the parent, is equally profound. These quiet moments of breakthrough serve as the emotional fuel sustaining you through the next chaotic morning. When the beautiful mess of the living room feels overwhelming, you will remember this shared laugh. You will remember the feeling of their soft hand in yours and the sudden, satisfied silence. These anchors hold you steady in early motherhood. As the golden hour fades into dusk, and the dappled sunlight on the kitchen floor softens into the warm beige shadows of evening, give yourself a moment of profound grace. Motherhood is a gentle saga of extreme contrasts. It is the jarring collision of bone-deep exhaustion and heart-stopping wonder existing in the exact same breath. You are doing the vital, incredibly taxing work of raising a human being. It is okay if you do not have all the answers. It is okay if you sometimes hide by the marble counter just to breathe. Your child does not need a perfect guru who never loses patience. They need a mindful mother willing to try again, willing to sit on the floor and marvel at the dust motes with them. So tonight, when the house is finally quiet, when the wooden blocks are gathered and the tea mug is washed, I hope you feel a deep sense of tranquility. I hope you know your love is the absolute heartbeat of their growing, brilliant mind. Breathe, find your rhythm, and trust this beautiful, chaotic journey.